You heard Jay Reynolds say there in our setup that Antonio Brown is eligible to return in Week 9. If you're wondering, the Bucs' first game that he would be eligible for, Sunday Night Football against Drew Brees and the New Orleans Saints. And that's where we want to start with ESPN NFL analyst Damien Woody, who joins us this morning on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line, brought to you by Shell V-Power Nitro Plus Premium Gasoline. Good morning, Damien. When he does become eligible, how soon do you think we will see him, considering to play with Tom Brady, even though he's got a good rapport? You certainly want to be in lockstep.
I think we're going to see him immediately, to be honest with you. I mean, you're talking about a guy, Antonio Brown. I mean, listen, the last time we saw Antonio Brown at his peak playing football, I mean, he was the best wide receiver of this generation, basically. I mean, he was putting up those type of numbers. And one of the qualities about Antonio Brown on the field has always been his work ethic. Staying in shape, how he works in practice, all the little things. So I think this is a guy that's in shape. I think he'll come in ready to go, knowing that he's reunited with Tom Brady, and I think they're going to throw him out there immediately.
Big Wood, what concerns do you have with the Bucs and Antonio Brown, if any at all?
Initially I was thinking, you know what? When things are going well, do you want to enter an element into the locker room that could disturb that? But honestly, just thinking about it, I don't really have any concerns. I really don't. I think that Antonio Brown recognizes that this is his last chance. He understands that he's going to a team that could possibly win the Super Bowl this year. He's reunited with a quarterback that he's always had an affinity for in Tom Brady. And I think he's going to come in ready to go. So I honestly, I don't see any problems with it, man. I think the guy's going to come in and going to add a different element to the Bucs team.
You mentioned the Super Bowl. The Bucs could be the first team to play in a Super Bowl within their own city. Yesterday, the NFL said that there will be about a 20% capacity for the Super Bowl. What do you think about that?
Well, listen, this is the times that we're living in, right? We're living in a pandemic, and obviously it's affected not only sports but all over the world. So, as far as the pageantry of the Super Bowl that we're accustomed to, is definitely going to be different optics. But as a player, I don't care. I don't need everybody in the stands because I'm playing. At the end of the day, I'm playing for a world championship. I'm playing for the ability to be one of the few teams in history to say, I was part of a champion. So I think players really don't care.
D-Wood, let's go to the AFC for a second. Let's talk about an undefeated Steelers team. Is that why they don't get love? Because they're boring? We don't like boring teams. They don't have this sexiness that these other teams have, like the Bucs.
If the Steelers are boring, give me boring all day. I mean, listen, they got wide receivers galore. They got a quarterback that's been there, done that in Big Ben Roethlisberger, and they play defense. So when I look at the teams, who are the most well-rounded, you got to put the Steelers at the top right now.
Damien Woody, ESPN NFL analyst, joining us here on Keyshawn, J. Will, and Zubin. I did not say morning
Good job.
show.
Proud of you.
Yes, that is correct. You know how it goes. Sometimes you screw things up.
Small victories, D-Wood. Small victories.
So, D. Woody, Seattle went out and acquired Carlos Dunlap in a trade with Cincinnati to bring something to the table from a pass rush standpoint. What do you make of this move?
Well, I mean, again, Seattle is all in. Seattle is not about draft picks and all of that. They recognize we have Russell Wilson. This whole mantra that we've been talking about, let Russ cook. Well, Seattle is just like, okay, we're going to let Russ cook, and we're going to try to maximize this window that we had with Russell Wilson as our quarterback. And so they're just saying we're going to try to load up, particularly on the defensive side of football, where, quite honestly, they've been terrible all year, and we're going to try to make up any type of deficiencies as possible to give us the best chance to represent the NFC in the Super Bowl.
We should also mention here, Dame, that you look at the situation and say to yourself, tonight, week 8 of the NFL season begins, week 9 for Antonio Brown. We asked this question yesterday: who is the NFL's MVP? We had the response overwhelmingly. More than half of our respondents said Russell Wilson. Aaron Rodgers, by the way, if you're wondering, D. Wood, was down at 22%.
Can I throw Tom Brady in the mix?
You can. That's who Key picked, right? Key, you had Tom Brady.
Or we put him in the conversation yesterday.
Put him in the conversation. Aaron Rodgers still.
In the conversation.
Yeah,
okay.
I mean, Brady's in the conversation.
Listen, I'm just saying. I'm just throwing it up there. Because it's about where you finish. It's about finishing. And Key, you know this. We're about to get to November now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
What's always been Tom Brady and the Patriots' mantra? Let's start playing our best ball in November and December. Correct. So, listen, I picked Russell Wilson as the MVP this year. But I'm telling you what, if Tom Brady keeps playing like Tom Brady's been playing, as of late,
yeah,
Tom Brady is going to be right there in the mix and possibly win this MVP at the age of 43.
D. Wood, how about Patrick Mahomes? Where do you have him in the conversation?
I got Patrick Mahomes as a winner. I mean, we saw last week. They threw, one touchdown? And they blew in a blowout? So, listen, Patrick Mahomes is Patrick Mahomes. He's the best quarterback in football. There's not a quarterback that I would take over Patrick Mahomes if I'm starting my team. He's just guiding the machine right now. He's the point guard of an all-star team right now.
The great thing about, you mentioned in Tom Brady in the month of November, the great thing, as you know, Damien, the great thing about being in Tampa, Florida in the month of November, December, there will be no bad weather. There will be no bad weather. So he doesn't have to worry about the wind and the snow. He could do what he's doing now in the later months.
That's right. And when you're 43, Key, you don't want to be dealing with all of that. You want to wake up and, walk outside in a T-shirt and your body and everything's feeling pretty good. So it's working out pretty good for him so far.
Indeed. It's also working out pretty well for that guy TB12 will be thrown to in week 9, Antonio Brown. As we mentioned earlier, Bruce Arians saying he looked, quote, fantastic yesterday. Quote, looks fantastic and went real well. He and I had a good conversation this morning. Went on to say he'll be ready to go next week and in good shape. And we should mention, not only do Tom Brady and AB have a short relationship from their time in New England, but of course Arians and AB have a long relationship from their time together in Pittsburgh. Damien, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Enjoy the Falcons and the Panthers tonight as much as anybody really can.
All right. Take it easy, guys.
All right, fellas. Thank you very much. So it's interesting. He makes a really compelling case there for Tom Brady. You tried to make the case, obviously, for Big Ben, but is the organization, is the team just so boring that he might not get the shine that he needs? Russ and Aaron Rodgers, this is going to be a great race.
Tom Brady's going to get some momentum. There's no question about it. But I think that Tom Brady MVP conversation is kind of, I think it's intriguing, but I think it gets stale because Russell Wilson hasn't won one yet, and then you still got Patrick Mahomes that's doing what he's doing, and then you got Aaron Rodgers making some sort of emergence in his career. And what happens, although he did lose head-to-head to Tom Brady, if he continues to keep playing like he played last week, that momentum will carry him toward the playoffs, toward the MVP voting.
Well, think about this for Tom Brady, too. It's about, Key, we talk a lot about those matchups. What are those matchups? Well, the numbers are going to get inflated, right? He plays the Giants next. He's going to put in work on the Giants. I accept that. The Saints, him and Drew Brees, they get a chance to go at it. Right? Then you go against the Rams and their defense. The Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes comes up next. Then it's like the Vikings, Falcons twice, the Lions.
Yeah, but before he gets to the Falcons twice and to the Lions,
so I said those